Hi, I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap-up for Friday, April 12th, 2019, coming to you from a farm in Missouri. And I want you to just notice behind me here, all the way behind me, and that line of trees and all that water back there. That's not a lake. I'll explain it to you in just a minute. But I want to start with big news. I mean, after 7 years of being in hiding, Julian Assange, the co-founder of WikiLeaks, conspiracy to commit computer hacking. That's what the DOJ says. DOJ says the charge relates to Assange's alleged role in one of the largest compromises of classified information in the history of the United States. You know, he conspired with Bradley Manning, now Chelsea, released that video of that gunship, killing more than a dozen people, including a couple of journalists from Reuters. They were all supposedly journalists. Awful stuff about the CIA and CIA hacking and how they could change. If they hacked, they could make it look like Russia did it. There's all kinds of tawdry information out about John Podesta, about Hillary Clinton, which they never denied it was real. They just hated that it was released. It's just an unbelievable run the last 10 years of WikiLeaks, and then no country was really spared. I mean, there was tawdry, awful things released about Russia, about China, about other countries. So he's in trouble, and they really went into the overkill mode with this, the way they got him. If you look here closely, they're kind of hauling him out. His hands are bound. I believe his feet are bound. I think these two guys down here are holding on to the rest of his body. He's being, actually made to look like some kind of criminal. He's got a Vidal book down here he's clinging to. I don't know why what the symbolism there is, but they really went into the overkill to make him look like they were just dragging a criminal out of a cave. Type thing. Listen, I'm a journalist, so I'm always for more disclosure and not less disclosure. Just don't want to get people killed. Now that's what the U.S. says. U.S. says what he did got people killed. As a journalist, I don't want to get people killed. I'd never release something that would get one of our agents, one of the United States, CIA officials killed or something like that. But there were some things released that the public needed to know about. They needed to know about that video where the U.S. military obviously murdered a bunch of unarmed journalists. But some of the other stuff, I mean, there was no real filter on some of it. Although Assange says that he wouldn't release things that would get people killed either, but he did release a lot of stuff. So listen, Donald Trump was asked about this yesterday, and his response, and I'm sure, of course, Trump responds to Assange arrest as, I don't know nothing about WikiLeaks. Of course he does. That's not true. Trump loves WikiLeaks. He tweeted about it, how the mainstream media ignored the document dumps about Podesta, about Clinton, about her emails, about all kinds of other stuff. There's a ton of stuff that WikiLeaks dumped that Trump was upset about. And, some people are saying, oh my gosh, the United States, arrested Assange and, it's going to be terrible for him. Maybe not. Of course, Trump has to say he knows nothing about it. He was probably given a heads up. For sure he was given a heads up about they were going to arrest him. This all happened, oddly enough, not long after William Barr gets put into the Attorney General's seat. Why didn't Obama go after him? I don't think Obama wanted to go after him, but Barr did. And what happens if Donald Trump and Barr and that administration finally prove that there was no DNC hacking? Remember, Assange has the memory stick. He has the way it was delivered to him. They're saying it was hacked, and people like Bill Binney, who's an expert at the NSA, says there's no way they hacked it. The download speeds were too slow. This was a direct, on-point contact, a download from the inside, like Seth Rich, maybe. Again, nobody ever said the information was not true. What was the motivation? Was Seth Rich or somebody at the DNC upset that they were rigging the primary in 2016 for Hillary Clinton when she couldn't put 200 people in an auditorium unless Jay-Z and Beyonce showed up? So, there's an unbelievable treasure trove of information that Julian Assange could basically leverage. I mean, if he could prove that listen, Mueller never went after the servers, the DNC servers. They had a third party look at that. Remember all this stuff? Oh, it's DNC. They were hacked. They weren't hacked. And then people, oddly died, were shot. Seth Rich was one of them. You never could find out what went on with all that. Donald Trump has been claiming that this was in his words, treason, which I've been saying to you, that it was an attempted takedown of a duly elected president. I've been saying that to you. Attempted coup. Failed coup is what I call it by now. Devin Nunes in the House of Representatives has put together criminal indictments and passed them on. He says, hey, listen, one indictment might have 24 people. And he talked about the press. Now, I've been telling you the press, because of the conversation between Strzok and Page, the number 2 counterintelligence FBI agent, and the attorney to the number 2 at the FBI, Andrew McCabe, her name is Lisa Page. We're talking about the media leak strategy. These were 2 high up people talking about a leak strategy to the media. And I've told you, listen, the First Amendment does not protect you from engaging in espionage or releasing classified information or releasing classified information to try fake information to try to take down a duly elected president. The media, in some way, shape, or form, some of them could be indicted. They were either engaged in outright espionage or, for sure, propaganda. I mean, the mainstream media was engaged in propaganda. They told you a lie for 2 years. What I told you for 2 years was right. I'm not trying to me, pat me on the back, but what they told you was a lie. And then you had, some of these reporters, like Michael Isikoff, who would report on stuff that was leaked to him, and then they would take the published reports and take it to a FISA court with that phony dossier and say, oh, look, see, here's the dossier, and here's some stories written about the dossier. You need to go ahead and give us the ability to spy on Donald Trump. And they used a phony dossier paid for by the DNC and Hillary Clinton, who took over the DNC. They used that to spy on the president. And so, maybe they use this Assange thing as maybe he does get in some trouble for espionage and computer hacking. And maybe he's able to leverage some of the things he knows about where his information came from. And a lot of deep state people could go down with this. A lot of deep state people. Here's Attorney General Barr tells Congress, I think spying did occur. Yes, I think spying did occur. I think Carter Page was a gateway to spy on everybody. They weren't just spying. They didn't give a darn about Carter Page. I mean, if they could pin something on, they could. But they wanted the whole campaign. They put spies in the campaign. They ran a counterintelligence operation the CIA did with other spy agencies before the Mueller investigation. They put in spies. They didn't go to Donald Trump and say, wow, the Russians could be trying to take you down. Oh, no, they put spies in there. And Barr says, yes, I think spying did occur. Of course, he says the question was whether it was adequately predicated. Well, we know it wasn't. We know Lisa Page said there was no crime by the time Mueller was seated, so he was illegitimately seated. James Comey says, well, I have no idea what the heck Barr is talking about because the FBI conducted a court order authorized surveillance. I don't consider that spying. Yeah, but if the court order came from a phony document and press leaks to people about the phony document in a circular firing squad of moronic, it must be real because the press is reporting on it. And then, the document must be real because of all that. And then the document's totally, listen. There was spying involved. And the deep state, the FBI, the rhinos, and the mainstream media were involved in this. At the very least, they were involved in propaganda. Others were involved in the actual takedown of a president. And again, you don't have a First Amendment exemption to try to conspire with people in power to take down a duly elected president if you're a member of the press. You don't get to do that. I wonder who these indictments are for, and it's not just for the reporters. There is no way the reporters, the tail wags the dog. The reporters don't run the show. You get an assignment before you even walk. You don't just bumble around and walk out and do whatever you want and come back and sit at your computer all by yourself and type it up and, tape it and walk past the control room. I was in television and walk past your boss and say, you're going to love this, and nobody's seen it. Please stop. especially when it deals with the President of the United States. Absolutely outrageous. Now you're seeing, and you got to remember that the second Andrew McCabe actually admitted a few months ago, yeah, there was a conspiracy. Yeah, but we thought it was necessary, basically, is what he said. And here we have again the mainstream media calling this factless conspiracy. Rachel Maddow, Chuck Todd, Pelosi, Barr going off the rails. This is in Congress this week. Dems, deep state panic. The hammer of justice is going to fall on people's heads. There is no question about it. We haven't even heard, from some of the other reports that aren't finished yet. There's a Huber who's been working on, I think, the Clinton Foundation that was revealed in Congress. And other people have been working on this FISA abuse thing. You're going to get this declassification. Comey signed off on a bogus warrant. And he's saying, that's not spying. You signed off on a FISA request, James Comey, the fired head of the FBI, and you used a phony document paid for by Hillary Clinton. And then there's this, which I just want to kind of put this together for you, because you heard a few weeks ago about how the Ukrainians are now alleging that, well, there were members of their government who were conspiring with the Clinton people to get her to win over Donald Trump. And who do we have here? Gregory Craig. He's 74 years old. Was indicted Thursday on false statement charges stemming from a foreign lobbying investigation into his work on behalf of, wait for it, Ukraine. And this is a former White House lawyer for Obama, Greg Craig, 74 years old. What he's charged with could get him 10 years in prison. 74, 10 years in prison. You get it when you're 84. You think that's just about a life sentence? Or you think that's like 30 years in jail for somebody who's 30? You think they might be able to squeeze him and get him to roll over on some people? Yeah, maybe. So I'm not worried about the Julian Assange thing. I thought it was awful what they did to him. I think the guy's more of a hero than a villain, that's for sure, because he sure released a lot of stuff, awful, tawdry stuff about multiple countries, including the U.S., that we all, needed to hear about. Wind's picking up here. I'll get to the water in the background. I know it's blowing a little bit, so we're getting ready for a storm to come in. I want to get this. Larry Kudlow, who's the White House chief economic advisor to Donald Trump at the White House. Interest rates may never rise again in his lifetime, says Larry Kudlow. Well, and no wonder why gold's getting a beat down 19 bucks on a Thursday. But yet China, for the fourth month in a row, has added to their supplies 360,000 ounces in March alone. Italy also, their populist movement, the five-star movement, when they want their gold back from the IMF. Let's see, who was at the Italian central bank when their gold was all leased out to try to get them into the euro? That'd be Mario Draghi, who's now the head of the ECB. He was the one that squawked the loudest, telling the Italians, you can't use that gold. You can't have it. Really? And then the people in the five-star movement, the populist movement, and they'll get a lot of people to agree with this in Italy, I'm quite sure, that the Italian gold belongs to Italy. I think they're the third largest official holder of gold. How much do they have left? Do they have the 2,400 and change tons left? The 2,400 or so, a little more than 2,400 tons of gold. You think they might be able to go back to the Italian lira backed by gold? They say it's worth $100 billion. Well, if it was like Jim Rickard says, it could be 10 times higher, 10,000, 15,000, depending on how much you want to back your currency with it. It might be, $1 trillion of gold. And Mario Draghi was instrumental in leasing, selling, getting rid of. How much do they have left? I mean, I suspect they have a lot less than 2,400 tons and change that they think they have. And when the Italians find this out, fact certain, and I think they will in pretty short order, I think Mario Draghi, if he steps foot in Italy, will get the Mussolini treatment. You should see what happened to Mussolini at the end of his reign after World War II, and how he got the Italians in bed with Hitler, and they took him up, wearing summer clothes up to the Russian front. Think they would knock off the Russians in 3 months. Yeah, well, we know how that story ended. I think China and the U.S. are desperate to cut a trade deal. I think both countries are doing terrible. You have Larry Kudlow, we may not raise rates in my lifetime. And then they're beating the heck out of gold. Well, of course they will. And then they're wanting more QE. And now some other people in the Fed are talking about quantitative money printing. And a 0.5 point rate cut. We talked about that last week. And, it's just pretty unbelievable. What's happening in the markets. But gold is, they whacked the daylights out of it and it was down, down to around, 1290 or something like that. Yet China, people like that, their policy is to just continue buying it because I think they know where this goes. I want to talk a little bit about dicks and social justice. Social justice. Social justice. And how a company can destroy their own business model with this stupid thought shaping, you got to think the way we do. They stopped selling guns or stopped selling AR-15s and things like that in the result of this awful Florida shooting. But law-abiding citizens didn't do that. Some crazy person did it. So they basically got down on, not only did they quit selling guns and got down on people who think they should, have the Second Amendment shall not infringe, but they joined other people like Levi's and other people to have an anti-Second Amendment movement, and they've lost just on their gun sales alone, $150 million. So I'm in St. Louis. I'm in a farm in Missouri. I'm in St. Louis. Go to one of the richest areas, Chesterfield, in the St. Louis area. I go to a Dick's store. You know how many cars are out there in front of Dick's? This is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in one of the wealthiest areas in the state. Three. And not long ago, Annika Sorensen, the very attractive female golfer and very good female golfer, was going to give, you think you could attract a few people to come to Dick's if she was going to put on a clinic. The store was empty. This is recently. And so, these crazy people, including Hollywood and everybody else, that's getting boycotted by at least half the population. I think way more than half the population. I think the Democrats can't win, and I think they have to do all these crazy things, change the rules, change the laws, get rid of the Electoral College, have illegal aliens vote, let felons vote from behind bars. They can't win on their ideas. It's crazy. They can't win. All right, behind me. So if you look right over my shoulder, right here, that water right there, not supposed to be there. That's flooding. The water, the field goes to that line of trees back there. And there hasn't been any rain here for more than a week. Now, it's just crested, but I think that's not going to last long because here we are in April, and here in the Midwest, they're forecasting tons of snow. Missouri is down here where my finger is, okay? There's Illinois, here's Missouri, but the Mississippi comes down, here, right here, and the Missouri River comes through Nebraska and comes down joins Missouri, Mississippi, the Missouri River and Mississippi River, join together down here in Missouri, down here, and this is how much snow they're forecasting here coming up just really soon. Here's another map, and the map is showing here again. Here is what they're showing. If you look at the map here, it's the red is 24 to 30 inches. Look at that. That is in Nebraska. I'm sorry, the wind's really blowing. So 24 to 30 inches, some of the reddest stuff, and 18 to 24 inches of snow. And this is going to come through, right here, Rapid City, Pierre, Minnesota. It's going to come probably Iowa. It's all going to fill up the Mississippi and the Missouri rivers, and the river behind me, the river that's out of its banks right here, is the Quiver, which feeds into the Mississippi, and it's already backed up. We haven't had rain in more than a week. And multiply this by all the farm ground that's going to get flooded, millions and millions of acres that will likely get flooded in a freak snowstorm that's going to happen in the Midwest or multiple states in the upper Midwest. But that'll all go, downhill, goes down to the Missouri, Mississippi, and flood other places. So that's the situation here in the Midwest, where they've had flooding. They can't get to stop. and they can't get it to rain and dry out enough to, minimize the damage. And it looks like they're going to get another big blast of snow and rain and water in the upper Midwest. And that's going to flow all the way down and back up all the way down. It's not funny. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to go out of business. It's going to put off planting. I mean, a lot of farmers are going to have to, it's going to go so late they won't be able to plant corn. They'll be able to have to plant beans. So you got, overloaded in one crop. Corn should be planted way earlier than beans. Beans you can wait till June, but corn, should be, early. I mean, corn should be belt high by the 4th of July, the saying goes. And, we're already into the, middle part of April, and we're going to get more backed up and more rain on a lot of the farm ground. So pray for the people out here in the Midwest. I want to just thank you for supporting USA Watchdog with your comments. I got smart people on USA Watchdog. Thank you for your donations. I appreciate it. Just remember to always fear not. Don't let them steal your chi. Don't let them steal your good judgment. Don't let them steal your faith. Fear not. They're not that tough. Because God the Father and His Son Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit are firmly in control. Fear not. Thank you for supporting USAWatchdog.com.